Yeah, all right. It's a best of 5 finals for the ESL Pro League. Shit, I've already messed up. ESL Pro Tour Asia Open Cup number 6. Nailed it. In the top left on Nightshade, it is time. The bottom right as the red Protoss, it is Zoun. Alright. Zoun, by the way, on the same team as Estrella. Forgot to mention that when we were facing each other. Alpha X. It's pretty cool. Ay, ay, ay. People, am I right? Am I right, chat? People. They're so fun. Hope you guys have been enjoying the cup. There are definitely the least amount of signups for this particular cup compared to the European and North American ones. European, as kind of usual, gets the most signups, but well, we have a kind of passive TVP opener here. I'll talk a bit about that. There's still so many things to talk about, but we have an entire best of 5 to do it, or at least 3 games, right? So yeah, I talked about it before. I think it's worth noting, just because there are some people who look at this and they're like, it's doom for the Korean scene. Calm down. It's always been the case that Korean signups are lower than almost any other tournament that happens. Not always, of course. Sometimes North American players don't really show up. But when it comes to like relatively like big qualifiers or big, you know, prestigious cups, quote unquote type things, like you usually just see less Korean signups. I mean, I think there's still a very strong mentality from the origins of Brood War and team houses that you really don't want to show your strats, even more so than the generalized, you know, don't show your strats that people usually adhere to. It's really strongly ingrained in Korea. Oh my god, he's gonna go for Drilling Claws. Oh my god. Oh my good god. Dude. Oh, good Jolly G. Anyways. You have, and also you have 2 tournaments actually coming up for Koreans, which is perhaps the biggest reason. So initially, Super Tournament was supposed to happen like last weekend. So you had a lot of players, a lot of like S-tier players who might play in online cups, but aren't going to if it means that they reveal the strats for a game, for a tournament happening in like 1 or 2 weeks. And then you have Katowice now. So there's a lot of that. They also just seem to not like playing in online cups as much, just in general. And I think you'd have to ask the Koreans as to why that is, more than I can like speak for them. I can speak about, you know, history and trends and things they might have said publicly, but as far as like detailed explanations, you have to ask them. So that's just the way it is. But since there are foreigners in Korea, and this also is open to literally anyone who wants to wake up and play on the Korean server, it doesn't mean that we're a lack of good players, storylines, that we can't build up good players who are able to participate in such tournaments, and that we can't hope that the perhaps continued absence of those S-tier Koreans won't mean that there won't be an opportunity for the up-and-comers to finally have their chance to shine. That was probably the most convoluted way I could have said that. But you get my point. We should hope instead of just more S-tier players coming forward in these online cups, and maybe instead hope that this means we can get to know Zoun a little bit more, or Time can go on like a Byun win streak and win 50 cups in a row, and suddenly he wins BlizzCon. That would be really cool. Or that's Chance, a guy who was really unknown, could go ahead and start making a name for themselves, because that is certainly something that the Korean scene is missing. And just to default to innovation isn't here, TY isn't here, stats isn't here, well, this is just pointless. Is I don't know, it's a little severe, guys. It's a little, sometimes some of you all come in here and you kind of have that attitude, and I'm a little That bot just enough time for Widow Mines with Drilling Claws to make an appearance. Fucking nailed it. They burrow most ASAPly. Could have gone for the 4-in-1, but actually it went for a slightly different version of swapping off add-ons, it looks like. And just went to, but they did have drilling claws. So 8 probes go down. Observer is necessary. More Wood of Mine drops will be coming here. This one actually has Marines in it. Zoun was going for a Stargate Phoenix Adepts composition, which is actually very odd to see the Adepts not do anything. They're here. They defended. They're usually a type of unit that is meant to go across the map and do something. Or at least get Resonating Glaives and be preparing to go across the map and do something. Well, they certainly aren't in the main base. It's only 1 Wood of Mine, though. Gets 1 probe kill. Again, Marine's kind of interesting. Usually, you'd want to just drop off as many Wood of Mines as possible and get on with your day. Which, oh my god! Exactly what this medevac does. I guess the Marine medevac is really supposed to be distracting. It certainly did distract. Another observer would have to be made. Oh, no, he does have one. Just waiting for the last Wood of Mine to pop. 10 probes. 10 more probes go down, so that's 19 in total. Against the 5 SCVs that went down to some Phoenix harassment. The Phoenix, I mean, it's kind of a weird thing, right? If Zoun is perfectly microing and perfectly moving away the probes every single time, now he has Colossus that also might help, then time just giving away medevacs and Wood of Mine is actually a problem. But if he's not, then suddenly time, even if he is giving away, sacrificing, oh, time is so cool. Even if he is sacrificing these units, which he's saving a decent amount, and by decent amount I mean 1 medevac at a time, he's doing damage. He's also keeping the Phoenix back at home, and apparently actually killing them as well. So this is absolutely worth it for time, who had just 1 little blip there on his macro because the Phoenix came in and has been rocking it ever since. Obviously, Widow Mine production is not a problem here. Against some other maybe forms of the matchup, build orders the Protoss could have done, maybe this is, it has its weaknesses, right? But in this case, I think it's gone wonderfully. It's done a lot of damage. It continues to do some damage, I'm guessing. And then you have a lot of Widow Mines that can take out Phoenix, and they already did. And they can do it again. And because you typically reinforce this army with charge lots, you don't go into blink, your Phoenix are covering for your blink, it just means the Widow Mines are still really damn good to have. In this case, they're going to take out those Adepts that still felt really odd to have so many. Phoenix, once again, were out of place for the drop. They want to do damage on the other side of the map. They just are not getting the opportunity to do so. And in trying to do so, they are taking damage. Time is 3 base saturation. Can now focus entirely on microing once again. Almost entirely. Second starport's almost done. Zoun might be getting a little fed up here. He doesn't actually have a Twilight Council, so it seems like he's just all in. He's like throwing his hands up in the air. This sucks. You suck. Terran sucks. And is going for the attack. It might be the actual best option, though, regardless of his personal feelings on the matter, because time is not yet ready. Give him 30 seconds, and he has a big enough Marauder army to take care of this. But not only is his Marauder count maybe a little too low, but most importantly, it's not at home. It's dropping right now. Phoenix do take out the medevacs on the right side. No Observer to clean up the Widow Mine, so they're going to get a second shot, though. Another attack on the third side is going for the Nexus. Time and also be able to get the Stalkers, no problem, and a bunch of pylons, a bunch of probes. It's turning into a bit of a base trade. 1 bunker is finishing up here. Vikings being made as well. Only a handful of Stalkers that do not have a blink upgrade. They are not target firing the Vikings, however. Now they target fire the Vikings only after Colossus takes about half damage or more, as this 1 Viking once again taking its sweet time being target fired. That was a lot of damage for the Vikings to do, but perhaps most importantly there, that bunker held with a decent amount of Marauders. 2 Colossus firing away was not enough to actually do it, especially because they were probably using their attacks on the bunker itself as opposed to on the actual units, which can be kind of a... I feel like it's been forever since I've seen that dynamic happen. You don't see many bunker defenses against Colossus builds anymore. You either have a concave, a surround, a good Marauder count, or you don't. But that used to be a thing. The bunker would take all the shots inadvertently due to poor micro or management from the Protoss, and then an army that could die to Colossus beams is still alive, even without medevac healing. It's kind of what happened there. Zoun is now at almost half the supply, it looks like. Not army supply, though. That's all in workers. Still an army to be scared of. Not if you get a huge concave. Now, this army was only scary if time was gonna choke. GG. GG. I know these guys make lobbies fast. I would have gone back and watched that fight around the bunker, but didn't want to miss the lobby invite. Game number 2 is going to be on Ephemeron. What does ephemeron mean, guys? Ephemeron. An insect that lives only for a day or a few days. It's also a Magic the Gathering card. I saw an image of a Magic the Gathering card. Yeah, it is. Ugh, it's ugly. Ugh. It's got like antennas coming from its chest, like really saggy boobs. What was Magic the Gathering's god trying to do with this ephemeron creature? Well, anyways, in the top left, up 1, it is time. In the bottom right, as the red Protoss, it is Zoun. Using that Phoenix Colossus style that has actually been quite prevalent lately. You know, there's times where Stargate openers were all the rage, and by Stargate I mean Oracle, you know, just Oracle. And then there was a very long period of time where Twilight Council was still 80% of the builds. And now we've gone back to a solid split percentage-wise of how often each style is used. Robo, Twilight Council, or Stargate. With maybe a bit more in the Stargate, it feels recently, actually. I feel like in the last 2 weeks of replay casting I've done, and some live casting as well, there's been a lot of instances of the Protoss going Phoenix Colossus against Terran. Might just be a trend of the weeks. A pretty standard opener. Time might bust something out that's a little cute. You know, that armory coming down quickly, drilling claws is a really fun thing to do, but it can absolutely backfire. Either the Widowmines don't do as much damage, or as maybe they're more infrequent. Maybe you take damage to Blink Stalkers on your side of the map. And maybe, as you guys are discussing in chat right now, maybe you kill a bunch of workers and then don't have enough of an army. Kind of like an adept situation. The adept sacrifice themselves, kill 20 drones, can't hold the return. So it's not like it's the greatest build, and there's really, it's really not the greatest build. There's a reason it's a very rare build indeed. And we even see Terrans sometimes go to such extremes, like proxying, or rather hiding the armory out in the map to really cheese it up. But still a fun build, no doubt. No doubt there. I advise people to try it. Just seeing probes die, just something about it, man. But I'm sure he has a couple other builds up his sleeve. Typically that's 1-1-1 into 3 barracks being the most standard, but certainly Hellion opener In this case, Hellion is being used primarily for the Adept defense. The bunker is here, but then the Adept just runs around and is like... Adept. Probe is... I don't know what it's doing, actually. What would it be doing? Is this only a probe for a third base scout? Okay, we'll see more of that. So Hellion was produced just for the defense. It's gonna get some scouting as well. So it's, you know, it's two things, but... Back into the 1/1/1 Widowmine drop, and then in the additional barracks. So it's the standard thing to do. Robo's on the way after Twilight Council. Zoun going into that blink charge. Only third gas. Probably thinking about a third Nexus soon, which the Hellion is trying to scout. I believe this is how Zoun got popular. So I knew him from like an Alima League a long time ago, and I knew he was a player who did this build. So I always attributed his best matchup to be PvT. Maybe it's PvP, maybe it's PvT, but I saw this a lot from him. And then he did it at IEM qualifiers, and a lot of people started saying that this upgradeless, fast third, you know, mass gateway thing was Zoun's style. And I'm like, well, he does it, but it doesn't mean that it's his thing. And that might be what he wants to do here. Oh god, the retargeting. Oh my god, there's no reason to be so suffer. It's funny. But Zoun is not going for the third Nexus. And is not started charge, is just warping in stalkers. So this probe was nefarious. Putting down a pylon for slow warp-ins is still an obnoxious amount of stalkers to deal with. Right now, though, he doesn't have that high ground vision that makes this truly obnoxious. He's going to try and go for the bust in the bunker before Time can respond. Time would do well, especially since he hasn't scouted the third base yet. This Hellion just died. Nice snipe on the Widowmine. It would be good of him to put a Marine out front just in case this was a bust of the bunker, which is always embarrassing to lose to, you know? This guy made units off of 3 gateways, busted my bunker, and I lose. Like, what world is this? But with the Observer now here, it's less about the bunker and certainly more about going into the main base, which is something that Time has predicted, but doesn't have enough units to quite hold on to. He's not going to get the Observer. Auto-turret is the best thing the Raven can do in the situation. Also, not dying is the best thing Raven can do. Nice snipe on the medevac. That was just a bit unfortunate there for Time. But Time does have enough units, it looks like, to hold, popping those units out of the bunker. Scan reveals the intention of Zoun's second hop-up. But I'm not really sure this was worth Zoun's delayed third base. In fact, I'm pretty sure it wasn't. You can get like a pretty damn... You're supposed to get a pretty damn fast third base with the macro version of this, not the committal of the Blink Stalkers. But if you can get the stim, if you can start chewing on those units... Oh my god, 3, 2, 1... Did not... Why wasn't it 23 seconds instead of 21-second boost? Blizzard, why you know extra 2 seconds? Well, that's obnoxious, because that's also a guess. That's a guess from Zoun. That could have been combat shields, which is a lot. It's a faster upgrade, and it's not as important. Still pretty important, but not as much. That hurts, especially because Zoun is doing his all-in now. That third Nexus came down, but, I mean, it is producing probes as well, but not for a very long time. That scan reveals a non-saturated third base, which means an army is coming up somewhere, but the question is, where? Turns out it's right here. Third base might just go down. Widowmine do get some pretty nasty shots. If the third command center can be saved, then this isn't so bad. He can't really save it by jumping on top of these units, not just because he doesn't have stim, but because the force field would have cut him in half. Unfortunately, loses that third CC, which puts us into a very complicated scenario. If Time could take in a convincing defensive fight, then there's still an opportunity here. But can he do that? This second Widowmine almost getting a fantastic shot. Liberator Siege is up here as a priority. 2 more Widowmines. It looks like Time has enough. But wow. Wait a minute. Wait. Whoa. Combat shields with this. Wait, what? I could have sworn combat shields was started, but I guess that was Marauder Slow that I researched. That's not even Marauder Slow. Wait, what was the second Tech Lab doing? Did he cancel combat shields to start stim? And then wait for a second Tech Lab to start combat shields? Oh, it seems like I mean, maybe that was the better call here. But that... Oh, I just thought he had combat shields. That was my bad. Turns out it's not the most important thing here. Stim and combat shields finish up. Marauder Slow's on the way. Much more importantly, Liberators are out. A decent number of units are on the ground. He didn't try and save the third CC. Probably the most important thing here. And his bunker was actually kept from the early game too, which is usually not what happens. Or it was rebuilt, either way. Ooh, quick snipe on that sentry when Zoun isn't paying attention. Zoun gonna go into Disruptors. The biggest drawback of his play here is they didn't get any upgrades, but Disruptors absolutely do not need upgrades. They literally do not benefit from them. So that's a good follow-up. It might also be anticipated by time. It's also something that Zoun just does, having, you know, been characterized for this style. I think he also is a bit of a Disruptor user in general. Sounds like I'm saying he's like a mech user or something. Oh, this has gotten awkward. Okay, time moves out as the War Prism moved in, and the Blink Stalkers didn't actually move away. This is turning into a base race. But a base race against Disruptors usually goes very, very poorly for the Terran player. The War Prism is not going to be cleaned up here as the Stalkers come forward to start sniping some of these bigger, chunkier units. The production is going to be lifted. Another base race in this tournament. I'm all for it. 4 Liberated. Ooh, geez, 4 Disruptors. 1 is dodged. Anti-Missile comes down. The second one is dodged. Oh, for the most part. Got a couple units right there. Going for the SCVs. 3 Marines instead go down. Liberators have siege up, and all the Stalkers on the other side of the map cannot help right now. He's jumping on top of the rest of the army that doesn't have any upgrades. The Zealots go down. They take a couple of swipes. The Guardian Show is very effective right there, but the Disruptors are still on cooldown. They're being targeted. They're being targeted. That one's not going to get shot. The last one does not get a shot. All the Protoss armies are taken down. No, wait, the Stalkers come back. They've killed 46 probes. So many reinforcing army units as well, but they still have a chunky army to deal with, and those upgrades are still not done. Liberator going to get maybe 1 shot before it dies. Autos are going to come down to help out as much as it possibly can. Zealots still getting slaughtered, but that is actually going to be Zoun's victory. It was cool at the end, but if we just took a breather, we would obviously see that Zoun was winning. 102 supply to 30. But it looked really hype for a second there at the end. It looked really good. And then it didn't actually matter. Zoun with the 1-1. Do 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 do. Isn't everything a Magic the Gathering card? Probably. All tied up 1-1. We're on. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hold on. Think back to Google. Think back to Google. Simulacrum. For game number 3, in the bottom right as the blue Terran, it is time. In the top left is the red Protoss. It is Zoun. You know, I forget who it was who asked me, I think it was maybe Alaska Winter, asked me, how do you prepare for a tournament like Katowice? And I gave a big spiel about, you know, storylines and studying players and a bunch of try-hard nonsense. The honest-to-God truth is you're going to see me behind stage warming up just to pronounce Simulacrum correctly. That's all I'm doing to prepare for Katowice. Simulacrum. Simulacrum. You're awesome. Thanks. You're pretty cool. My play-by-play is really good. Oh my god, someone noticed my work. Just kidding. Am I though? I'm actually really touched, thank you. I don't think I'll ever be as strong as some of our play-by-play casters, but it was something that I really wanted to be able to get better at, you know? Not just something that I thought I had to get better at, but also something that I wanted to get better at. I wanted to believe I could do it. Break stereotypes and all that, I guess. But, it is something I've tried working on. I tried very specifically, actually, to be, so I started working on, like, play-by-play casting, like, 2 years ago, I guess. Kind of around the time I did the Montreal finals with Pig, which was a great finals. It made play-by-play casting really easily. Play-by-pay. But then for last year's Montreal, like the one 3 or 4 months ago, well, more than that now, I guess, I really worked more on being like the stage entertainer. I don't know how you would really describe it. Like, you know, most people describe casters as play-by-play and analysts, which isn't exactly incorrect, but there's, you know, a lot more into it, right? We don't just have people we love for being either an analyst or a play-by-play guy. We love them for both, or we love them specifically for their humor, right? They add a lot of humor to the broadcast, or they add a lot of interaction to the broadcast. They're constantly drawing people in and getting interesting ideas from them. And that doesn't necessarily make them like an interviewer or a host or anything like that. So, like, drawing in the crowd more and throwing more alley-oops to my co-caster than just focusing on me as a caster was something I tried focusing on last year. I think I did it pretty well, but in the end, it didn't even matter. I don't know what my goal is for this event, I guess. Like, specific goal in terms of casting. I'll think on it more. Anyways. Anything interesting happening here? Yeah, time still kind of favors some of these tank pushes, where I think a lot of their Terrans have basically given up on them. So as we see a tank pop out right now, I think we might have them push. Actually, no, hold on. Nope. I misread the build. There is Sim on the way. Starport's only just started. My bad. Thought there was a 1-1-1. No, tank's defensive then. He's got a bunker. It was built very quickly as well. Zoun, only now getting scouted by time. I guess he's probably council. And a chrono on it. That chrono was almost like fishy. Like, you put it blatantly in front of me. Is this like serious mind games? Hold on here while I go into the depths of analysis. He might have chronoed the last couple seconds of Blink because he wants time to think he's being aggressive with Blink, because he doesn't see the third Nexus timing, and he just got attacked by Blink. Because I don't think with a fast third Nexus, I don't think you put a last chrono on Blink. I'm not entirely sure. I might be way overanalyzing this, but like, you can chrono it once, usually near the beginning, is what we would see from like Zest. But if you chrono it twice or towards the end, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. I was gonna say, Zoun, what is his scouting right now? Looks like he got into the main base with something earlier on and is getting some better scouting of army movement with this observer. So he knows what he should expect. If there's not a starport, you can pretty much hold off on worrying about a push. Not always, you know, you can take whatever unit you want, a couple SCVs, and go for a push, but it's usually that medevac timing you're worried most about, or something that includes, like, a Viking. Could be a tank push. He did not see a second tank back there. Fortunately for Zoun, he only loses... Oh, okay, he lost 2 stalkers. But I think that could have been worse. Because he had a second shot from this tank, or 1 shot from this tank, and 2 from this, and the bunker. That could have been really nasty. But there's the third Nexus, and it is getting saturated faster than that last game. It is still only 1 upgrade. I mean, it's still 1 upgrade. All right, that's better than none. So this is not going to be the super all-in style that he's been showing in the past. And in fact, this is what most Protoss players are doing nowadays. The days of double forge automatically accompanying blink and charge is kind of over with. Ooh. In this Twitch chat, people not understanding what a color commentator is. It's true, Maynard's only hired for sex appeal. It's a fact. Ooh, not quite getting that cyclone. Also pronounced Katowice properly. I'm less worried about that. It's on my things to do list last. This is a pretty good choke off to the left side. Right side's not quite enough units, it feels like, to really push through. But the Widowmines were late to burrowing, and the tank and Cyclone were powered down. This last tank, though, lasting a little while longer than Zoun was hoping for. Feels like sheer number of units was what was going there for our boy Zoun. But certainly coming in from two different angles, always what you want to do against tanks. Medivacs actually just force the recall and immediately evacuate. Probably the best thing Time could have done right there. And these Medivacs managed to evacuate from the main fight. Third TC is about to be finished. So not going to be stalled out or, God forbid, canceled by an immediate Stalker counter. Actually, these Stalkers looking for the Medivacs. There's only 4 of them, so I don't think they can one-shot anything. But, ooh, Time not immediately able to unload. And that's not Marauders. Those were Widowmines, so this did turn awkward. The rest of the army from Zoun is coming up anyways, so he's just going to have to do what he can here. Blinking away from most of the Widowmine shots. 2 of them still available, but they need to get on top of these Zealots. He's going to have to just be forced to kite back from them. These Widowmines are getting some awkward shots here and there, but they're not really hitting the juicy center of the Protoss army, as it was so damn spread out. And instead, the Protoss army is collapsing on a Terran army that can no longer kite, but a Liberator getting a lot of shots off. Immortal getting taken out. No, not quite, by the Widowmines. If there was a third one, maybe it would have. There's also a War Prism for instant reinforcements, and that Micro is down, really able to push through. He's got more units coming from the north side as well, but Time is on 3 bases now, or almost there. He does have 5 barracks production. Maybe pull the SCVs just to survive for now. Wouldn't be a great game for him, but he would survive. You can do it. I will survive, Time says, but probably ultimately die. He's down 30 supply. He's going to be down 30 army, and as well as 30 SCVs, because apparently that wasn't enough to take on the Stalkers. They got 1 upgrade, but they had a hell of a concave, and they just had the numbers going for them. The War Prism's not giving up yet. Man, if there was something to take out that War Prism over here, this would be such a different game. Third TC also never really going to get a chance to mine. It's going to be taken out. Not worth focus firing, I think. That would lose too many of his units. This is actually really bold now for Zoun. +1 armor, so close to finishing here for Time. That would have been so helpful 30 seconds ago. But the Liberator is protecting the Widowmines. The Widowmines getting any shots or any forced blink back, so it can't be used forward or defensively, is good. And the Liberators just scooch. They scooch a little bit farther forward to also protect the third CC. Time is going to hold. He also held on to his army supply. I thought that was going to start dipping down pretty hard, but it turns out he's only down 30 SCVs. That's it. Don't worry about it. Observer is over his army and just saw that lift up. Zoun made a very bold choice last game by forcing that base trade. Is he going to do it again here? Nope. Going to be a little bit smarter about this. I think this is a much wiser choice. His Stalkers do not manage to target anything, and he's going to lose a couple of Stalkers for it. Liberator's getting the chance to siege up here is an awfully big surprise. Maybe Zoun is microing his War Prism. It seems to be the case. He also had a couple of Zealots just going through the natural. They are cleaned up here, so it's more about the main Zealots than the natural, but War Prism's still alive, going to the third, every which way. Meanwhile, Time was taking the engagement where he did lose that Liberator, and I think maybe a Medivac's worth of units, so that army's not nearly as intimidating as it once was. And the Liberator does not have a good choke here, so it's going to try and evacuate to the third base, so that's a fourth base, actually. Just hopping all over the place. Stop it, guys. I can't keep up. Zealots coming into the third at this point. Natural again here. Time down 40 overall supply, but trying to make things work, trying to take the best engagements possible. Whenever he can find a pure bio versus Stalker engagement, he can take a big lead rather than the resources lost. For that specific fight, though, he's still got so much army left over, and he's not going to be able to just continue hopping around all damn day long. GG. Zoun with the 2-1 overtime. Imagine losing to a no-name, you guys. Yeah. I couldn't quite keep up with all of chat there, but I feel like people were trying to give me a suggestion as to what I was describing when I was talking about the type of caster I tried to be, and they gave me the color caster. Guys, PSA, maybe this isn't what you meant to do, and I'm misreading it, but I think just general PSA. A color commentator is the analyst. Just FYI, guys. I know it sounds like it adds color, like variety and funness to the broadcast, but it's not. Ew, a shocking twist for this best of 5 finals. It is this guy in the bottom left, Time. He's the one down. 2-1. In the top right, he is the red Protoss Zoun, trying out some stupid Stargate stuff in the first game. What a dummy. And then going to his one true build. His one true style. The Twilight Council, Blink Stalker Charge Lot. That a boy Zoun. It's my favorite style of Protoss to watch, so I'm actually not even being, like, facetious. Like, I actually think he's the best. It is the best for him, I should say. And that it is the most fun way to watch PvT. I know a lot of you will be hating out there, but I am what I am, man. So, World of Sleepers. A map that's definitely more controversial in TVZ. For TVP, I think both Terran and Protoss are like, it's fine. I was doing some map research yesterday, or, well, a while ago, doesn't matter. Time is a concept. And it kind of actually looks like Protoss is on the weaker side of things when it comes to map balance versus Terran. So, I don't remember exactly where World of Sleepers landed, but there's like one really good map for Protoss, and then like an okay one for them, and then like 5 that were a little bit favored towards the Terran. What builds am I supposed to copy TVP if all the games I watch P shits on T? Well, the good news is you're not going to be facing Zoun in your gold level 1v1 game, so do whatever build you want. Is it Shoutcaster and Analyst? Generally just say play-by-play and Analyst is usually what it is. Or Commentator and Analyst, but that when it's announcements of talent, it's really weird. I mean, esports didn't start off replicating traditional sports, so there's definitely some things that just like aren't shared and are, you know, technically not correct. Blah blah blah. Anyways, when it's a talent announcement and they're like, these are the analysts and these are the commentators, they usually mean these are the people on the desk and these are the people commentating. But since StarCraft 2 doesn't have desk only people except the desk host, we don't get the same description. So if we're talking about a pair of casters and their specific goal, it's usually play-by-play and analyst. A lot because people get color casting wrong. Alright, Zoun. Exactly, Zoun. Well, you tried, Time. But yes, exactly. Yes. Time is doing yet another build. So last game he went for a 2-1-1, you know, quote unquote, the TVP version of it. Barracks Factory, Barracks Starport. It was quite defensive initially, and you know, it kind of worked out okay. The stalkers blinked in aggressively. The attack I don't think was that bad either. It just was not quite enough on the defense. It is a very fine line when you do an attack as a Terran and whether or not you actually have enough back at home. Either you do and the game is totally normal, it's like nothing ever happened. Or you don't, and it snowballs. So, you know, he lost his reinforcements, the medevacs got caught, the pack of Widow Mines didn't do what they should have, you know, it just kind of snowballed, but I didn't think the attack was that bad. But he's doing yet another build. Yet another build. So Banshees it is. I mean, he's up against someone who will have access to Blink and Observer. So it's not an option of do they defend, it's how quickly do they defend. Where are the units in position. Everyone says that Stargate's supposed to be the best against this, but say time and time again, the Banshees will always find a way to do some damage. Whether it's against Blinkstalker, Observer, or Phoenix, Oracle. And I dare say, yeah, that Blinkstalkers do a bit better against it. That Banshee doing absolutely no damage initially is very unfortunate. Time is just going to go for 2. That's what you usually do when you invest in a cloak. But now he doesn't have that option to scare Zoun with a double Banshee on top of a shield battery probe line. Zoun could just place shield batteries and be like, okay, sucker, see you later. He puts one in the main base and leaves units in the natural. Guy I talked to about not facing Zoun has to defend his honor by typing his MMR. Buddy. It didn't matter. Unless you're telling me that you're goddamn euthermal and you're having trouble, just do whatever you want. You know what? It's actually a terrible example because euthermal does do whatever he wants. He plays mech. The Banshee does absolutely no damage. So, my 5400 dude, don't do Banshees apparently. You normally get assigned? No, we don't get assigned at all. I mean, the whole idea of just strictly someone analyst, someone commentator, rather someone play-by-play is just, I mean, it's kind of silly anyways. Oh, that's gonna be awkward. So, Zoun did this thing where he didn't get any upgrades. He was going for a big ol' attack on time, whose best bet, if he knew this was happening, was to play defensively. And instead, he was going for an attack. If his attack was set up, tank siege, Widow Mines burrowed, safely moving his army, microing behind the Widow Mines, then it's probably okay. Not great, but it's okay. But he was caught in the middle of the map with nothing prepared, partially surrounded, and now he is in a lot of trouble. He knows exactly what Zoun is doing, so all, like, you know, just focus on holding here, and you'll eventually have better upgrades. Zoun's gonna have to, once again, go to Disruptors probably, and chrono the hell out of 2 Forges if he doesn't win right here. But that was a convincing start. It's what Zoun used to get fairly far in the IEM qualifiers, and what people have been saying is his thing, although I don't think it is. Can Time holds. He's going to be able to sacrifice a couple of SCVs without totally being out of this game with his 3rd CC. Liberators do come forward. The SCVs have already been slaughtered. He's down 18 SCVs, 20 SCVs, but he is taking on a lot of the army. Most of the Zealots gone here, despite the War Prism being on the front lines. It's not able to reinforce that damn much. He's actually banking a lot of minerals, so he's starting to get a 4th Nexus while this is all going down. 3rd CC needs to live, actually. He needs to live for him to be able to come back into this game. Uh-oh. Oh, he's starting to maybe get a little bit confident seeing a lack of charge lots. He still has the SimCity, the 3rd CC to kind of depend on, but then it started getting target fired, and oh, so many choices had to be made right there, and the choice to pull the SCVs to repair it either was too late or just not what he thought was most important. Thank you, Neuro, for giving us up to Sir Christophe. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, and he's paying to get forward, apparently. That's new. Zoun on 4 bases still has the disadvantage of not having upgrades, but disruptors will certainly help with that. Widowmine's getting some amazing shots as Zoun kind of brute forcing his way into that army. Might be making a mistake that can lose him a game like this. Getting overconfident, especially with unupgraded gateway units. You look at your army, you're like, wow, that army's huge. Let's go for it. And then they don't have +1 armor, and you're like, oh no, Zealots aren't that great without +1 armor. That could still lose him the game. You lose one fight, you lose a second fight, you lose a 4th base, suddenly you're only on 3 bases depending on the magic disruptor hits to save you against Times Micro. You let go of a game. It would be much scarier, though, if Time had saved that 3rd CC. Much scarier of that happening. Time's going to go ahead and all in here by pulling the SCVs. Disruptors are a sad sight to see. He's going to have to split. It's going to cost him all of the DPS he would usually have. Widowmine's really late to burrowing. Do not get the stacked up Zealots, as Zoun was reinforcing the entire time the army was traversing across the map, and that is going to be enough. Zoun, simply by moving the army this far back on the map, has bought him enough time to get more Disruptors and more Zealots. Despite not having any upgrades on the way, doesn't really matter. Time is out of juice. A little surprising, to be honest. I mean, he had a terrible start in this game with 2 Banshees going down. Definitely don't forget about that. But it's a little surprising because Zoun did start to do his kind of one-trick pony thing. 1.5 trick pony. You know, he did add the macro phase to one game, the upgrade, and he added a Blink Stalker attack in another game, but it was the Twilight Council attack again. And Time did not adapt to it, which happens. 3 games to do so. It doesn't happen then. But I'm more surprised because Zoun is known for doing this. Like, the first time he did it, and he was like, shucks, you got me. I remember you now. Like, you think you'd be... I would think a guy like Time would be able to accommodate to it, but of course it's never that simple. StarCraft is never that simple. Oh, big surprise then. Big upset. Zoun takes